Okay. Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's Jerry Miller. It's great to be with you. It's Wednesday. We are past almost hump day, baby, in Charlottesville, Virginia, and we have a fantastic program lined up for you. Sarah Hill Buczynski is going to join us from Wheeler Realty Co. That right there is tough to do. I can already tell that this is going to be a fantastic show, guys. I want to put this lady, this entrepreneur, this real estate agent, this fabulous pillar of Charlottesville and Central Virginia into perspective. We are going to introduce you to her, and we encourage you to share the show, like the show, interact with the show, give Sarah Hill Buczynski some love right here on the I Love CVille Show. Before we get to Sarah, before we get to the two-shot, let's give some props to the folks behind Greenberry's Coffee Company. For almost 30 years, a husband and wife tandem from Charlottesville, Virginia, that started with a beat-up Honda Civic, the McIntyre Office Park, and Barracks Road Shopping Center, now has a global business. I am talking locations in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Japan, Washington, D.C., soon to open in Portland, Oregon, the entrepreneurial stories we love on the I Love CVille Show. We also give big-time props to the one, the only, Dr. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. I have seen firsthand how Scott Wagner is changing people's lives. People walk in with pain, they leave with quality of life. It's Scott Wagner at Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Who's got your back? Scotty Wagner has your back. Let's go, Judah, to the two-shot. And we welcome Sarah Hill Buczynski to the program. Sarah, how are you?
I am good. Thank you, Jerry, so much for having me today.
Our pleasure. I cannot wait to spotlight you. I can't wait to talk about your business. I can't wait to talk about real estate. I cannot wait to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. Before we do that, you are a wife. Are you a mom?
I am a mom.
You're a mom.
Absolutely.
So, like me, being a husband and a father, that takes precedent to everything for me. I love my son. I love my wife eternally. I'm sure you feel the same way. Mm-hmm. Sarah Hill Buczynski, the mom, the wife, who is she?
I would say absolutely. I'm a wife and mom, probably first and foremost. I have two kids at home. Ava just turned 10 and is full on like preteen, and Noah is 6. And they are the reason that I do what I do, and that I get up in the morning, and that that I work hard. And my husband Mike Buczynski, you might have seen him around town.
He's on the cast washing right now.
Hi, honey. He's a mortgage lender in the area, and we're just a great team. And yeah.
You guys have so much vertical integration with your business. I mean, you're doing the real estate piece, he's a lender. I cannot wait to spotlight that dynamic, because I think it's something that certainly makes you stand out from your competition. You have a trusted lender you've done business with that has as much skin in the game with the deal as you do, because it's family. So that right there, I think, is a separation point from your competition. Before we get to that, I want to talk about the motivational factor of how your family gets you up every single day, rising, shining, grinding, and being better than the day before. Because Sarah, I feel the same pressures with my wife and with my son. I just want to be the best version of myself humanly possible. Can you put in perspective how you as an agent balance family life with a career that is demanding and oftentimes calling you after hours, on the weekends, and away from your children?
Absolutely. And that one of my favorite sayings is not the struggle is real, but the juggle is real, because it's a juggle. And at any certain time, there are 5-6 balls kind of up in the air, and you got to keep them going. You got to keep all of those pieces working, and have somebody that's catching them when they come down, whether it be me or, it's a team effort. I have a great team in my husband, my kids, my parents, my neighbors, my friends. It's a community, and
it takes a tribe.
It does, absolutely. And I'm happy to do that back. I have a great community of neighbors and friends, and at any given time, our cars are passing. I need someone to watch my kids for 5 minutes, while Mike's getting home and I'm leaving to go to an appointment. And I have neighbors that are willing to just step in and do that at any time. I have parents, I have family. So definitely.
Great answer right there. Laura Fonner, Executive Chef Dooner is joining us. Lauren Linsky, thank you for joining us. Bob Shada, Jessica Russo, Michael Buczynski, I see you watching, baby. Tim Ryan, I see you watching, baby. Let me throw this to you. Your career, while perhaps at times difficult because you have to do showings on the weekend with being around family, at the same time it offers a sense of independence in that you're not tied to a desk from 9 to 6, 9 to 7. You have some freedom. You can make your own schedule. How does that, for the real estate agents that are watching, how does that like impact your quality of life? I would think that freedom is something that you embrace, you welcome. It's certainly something I do as an entrepreneur, Sarah.
Absolutely. So when I went back to work several years ago, I was home with the kids for a while. Prior to moving here, I was in human resources for a large doctor's office up in the DC metro area. And same thing, very demanding hours, but it was a desk job. I had to be at the office, 8 to 6 every day. And so when I went back to work, I knew that after having a family, I wanted something that would allow me to still volunteer at the kids' schools, be involved in their lives and their sports and those things. And real estate has definitely allowed me to do that. I would say, for the most part, I can set my own schedule. But then there are those times where if, a client is only in town for a weekend or, 5 days, we're out every day and, I might miss some things, but I make up for it in other ways. So it's a good balance. It evens itself out. You've done the grind where you've sat in a seat and you've done the traditional office hours, the 9 to 5? I mean, I think now it's like 9 to 7, depending on the job. And now you have the freedom. You're an entrepreneur. A real estate agent, what I love about it is you're a business owner. You run your own personal brand. You're the CEO of your brand. Which ones do you like? Which style do you like better? Compare and contrast the 9 to 7 versus the freedom you have as an entrepreneur. Trials and tribulations. I mean, absolutely, hands down, I would pick what I'm doing now, for sure. It's tough in that you have to be obviously super organized, super self-motivated. You have to live by your calendar, but it allows you to do the things that you want to do and be there, especially for your family in the times that you want to be, to carve out that time. So absolutely, I would definitely say that what I'm doing now is where I want to be.
And I can tell your passion for this is contagious. You came in, the energy, I feed off that energy. Without question. Anybody that's in the entrepreneur space that loves what they do, that's one of my favorite parts of the job. Freddie Jackson, David Karen, thank you for joining us here on the program. Let's talk about breaking into the business. We are in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, Albemarle County, Central Virginia in totality, a market that is uber competitive. I think that there are real estate agents left and right. We talk about the restaurant business in Charlottesville being extremely competitive, the coffee business in Charlottesville being maybe one of the most competitive categories out there. I think real estate is right up there. Can you put in perspective breaking into the market as a brand new agent into a very crowded space, why you went about this way, things that you've done to stand out from the rest, how you've gotten some traction?
Okay. Great question. It's absolutely a hard market to break into. As you said, there are a lot of us. I think anyone I talk to, they know at least 4 or 5 agents. Neighbors, we're everywhere. Having said that, I think out of the 1,000 agents in the Charlottesville area of Association of Realtors, I think once you break it down into who's doing the business, there's really a much smaller number who are doing more than 5 deals a year. And so definitely I thought it was something that I could break into and do a good job at and really help my clients. This area, there are constantly people moving in and out. Between INJIC, between the university, the hospital, there's always a need for agents and good agents and helping people navigate that path.
Good answer. Laura Fonner, she says, she's giving you props. She says, Sarah, she makes time to bring her family to help serve at a shelter dinner. This lady is amazing, an asset to Charlottesville. What is she talking about there?
Thank you, Laura. Actually, from your show, I found out about Laura's involvement in Packham, and we then signed up as a family on New Year's Day to go down and help with one of the meals.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What'd you learn? What's that experience like?
It was interesting. I mean, I tried to take it in from the eyes of my kids because we wanted to do something meaningful on New Year's, kind of to kick off the year. Wanted to give back. That was kind of our number one idea. Wanted the kids to be involved, and it was just eye-opening that, my kids can go in and talk to anybody. They don't notice the difference between, a person that has a house and a person that doesn't, or a person that's, coming for help. They just talk to everybody and help everybody. And it was inspirational.
That was a great answer. Judah, let's turn that into a sizzle reel, because I think that really makes you human. It localizes and personalizes you, and you're getting a lot of props here on the show from that statement. Guys, like the feed, share the feed. Give Sarah some love. She certainly deserves it. Michael Payne, Kathy Joseph, Andre Xavier, Chris Turner, thank you for joining us on the program. Your career and working for Roy Wheeler, you partner in Roy Wheeler with a legacy brand, a brand that is tried and true. A brand that has withstood the test of time in a competitive space. Open-ended question for you first. Why Roy Wheeler to launch your real estate career?
Well, first of all, interestingly, I actually started in real estate before Roy Wheeler.
Okay.
I was actually with Valerie Easter.
Okay.
On when she had a team.
Sure. And now she's EXP.
Yes.
And no team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when she was back with Keller Williams, actually out of Richmond, that's kind of my husband Mike knew Valerie, just from the business.
She's a rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was looking to go back to work, I had sort of dabbled in the idea of doing real estate, and thought that it would be a good fit. And so he introduced us, and at the time, she had the team, and she really took me under her wing and showed me a lot about the business just from her years of experience. I learned a lot from her. So started with that, and then after sort of when she was moving away from sort of the team thing, I was really looking for something more local. It was hard being based out of Richmond, the Keller Williams in Richmond. Just for, commute and different markets. So Roy Wheeler, I met with Michael Guthrie, and, that was it.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's just such a good person and such a good mentor. And Roy Wheeler, they have stood the test of time, and they've been around. They've seen all kinds of markets. And they offer amazing training and an amazing environment in which to learn. Everyone is there to help each other. If you're a new agent, if you're an older agent, everybody's learning from each other and collaborating, and it's just a great place to work.
Hunter Holler, who I think is your dad?
Yes.
Hunter Holler is hollering right now, and he's giving you some big-time props on the program. He's saying you're doing a fantastic job. Mr. Holler, thank you for joining us on the show. Share the broadcast, guys. Like the broadcast. Let's give Sarah Hill Buczynski some props and the spotlight. How about this? Let's talk about the tough aspect of the career and being an entrepreneur in general. 80% of small businesses, and you're a small business, 80% of small businesses fail in their first 3 years. You know these numbers because you're a savvy, sophisticated, intelligent person. When you were getting into this, how did you manage that mentally? How did you manage the fear of failure? Because I constantly, I love the cross-section of fear of failure, the balance of confidence and confidence not going into cockiness, and how all this comes into play and snowballs with successful entrepreneurs and how they can maintain their business. When you initially started this, were you like, I don't know if I can do this? Because isn't that only natural?
Sure. And I think that is only natural, and you have to use that fear to motivate you and to keep you going without it becoming crippling. I think you also have to have some faith in that things are going to work out. And I think my dad taught me. He had a long, successful banking career, and you keep putting one foot in front of the other. You get up every day and you just keep working hard and doing what you do and trying to get better, and things are going to work out.
Yeah, and I think every successful entrepreneur has a little bit luck on their side, and I certainly see that with the folks I talk to. Eric Gibson, thank you for joining us. Sam King, we love you, Sam King. Thank you for joining us. Ray Cadell, thank you for joining us. Des Raj and Tyler Berry, thank you for joining us. Mike Buczynski, thank you for sharing the stream right there. The first year, the first 6 months, the first year, the first 18 months, the hardest parts, when you're out on your own. perspective, give it to all of us, please.
Absolutely. So I am heading into my third year now.
Awesome.
So I think I've made it. I haven't failed in the first 3 years.
Yeah, good for you.
So definitely I think being part of a team for that first 6 months was a great intro into the business because it allowed me to really see how the business works and have a mentor that had been doing it for a long time. So I think that was definitely, for anyone that's looking to get into real estate or do anything entrepreneurial, have a mentor, get a good behind the scenes look at what you're going to be doing to get a handle on it.
And when you saw it, were you like, I still want to go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, one of your biggest strengths is the people person piece. I mean, you're likable. I can see that right away. Put that in perspective.
I definitely, after I saw it, was like, this is what I want to do. Because it's helping people during, I think, moving is in one of the top 4 most stressful life events. I think it's like divorce, childbirth, death. Like it's
home purchase,
right?
Yeah,
it's like home purchase, and as you've done it. And I think being able to be there for someone during that time when they have jobs that they're doing, they have families, they have, and it is a full-time job to sell or buy a house. I mean, you have to be on it for that period of time, and so just to be able to help someone through that process and be sort of their go-to is awesome.
What I love about this area is, and you've touched on this already, as an entrepreneur and business owner, I love that this area constantly has new people moving in. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the happiest city in America line that got people moving here, whether it's the University of Virginia, and mm-hmm. oftentimes UVA or in college in general is like the best 4 years of our lives mm-hmm. because we have no responsibility. We go out and party and have a good time. So you fall in love with Charlottesville in these 4 years and you want to come back. Mm-hmm. How has that, from a realtor in general, having all this new fresh blood, mm-hmm. fresh people, new customers to the area, how does that benefit the profession? And mm-hmm. how do you potentially pursue folks and clients that really have no feel for the area and no feel for what brands to trust?
Mm-hmm. I love helping people that are moving here from other areas. And one of the main reasons is I can honestly say to them, I can't wait till you get here. You're going to love it. And that's so true. Just the quality of life here is amazing. People coming from other places, it's hard to describe exactly, but once they get here, they're like, oh my gosh, we do love it. And I know they're going to. So it's easy to sell Charlottesville.
As an entrepreneur, was there a moment when you're like, you had a successful moment where you can look back and reflect on and you're like, oh my gosh, I made this happen and I wasn't sure if it was going to get done and I had to juggle all these balls and put these fires out and I did it and look at what happened. Can you reflect or get nostalgic at all on something like that happened to you?
Every deal, Jerry.
Yeah? That was a safe answer, Sarah. None stand out more?
So I think... No, I mean, I think every deal is so different. Every client is so different. And, just every deal has its own special fires that you have to put out. And when you get to that closing table and everyone's happy and it's a win-win, it's just awesome. I think one of probably the best moments was I helped a client, somebody that I met hosting an open house for another Roy Wheeler agent, decided to work with me. She had bought and sold houses her whole life by herself, never used an agent, and, for whatever reason decided to trust me and work with me. And she said after that, gosh, I should have been doing this all along. That was the best transaction that I've had.
That's awesome.
And so that was really, really validating.
That's awesome. Your husband says, I'm taking the kids to school this morning. I love it, Michael. Michael, I love it. I love it. I love it, baby. Chris Jensen, realtor, thank you for joining us. April Dent Ward, we love you on this show. Thank you for joining us, April Dent Ward. John Gilmer, thank you for joining us. Buyers or sellers? Which do you like? I know you like them all, and you're not going to turn down anything.
No.
Buyers or sellers? Which ones do you like working with perhaps more and why?
They're very different. So sellers, you can definitely, from sort of a time management perspective, schedule more. So you have your listing appointment. You suggest updates or things for them to do. They do them. You get your photos done. You go live. You have your open house. It's very, very scheduled, which is somewhat easier. Buyers, you're out there all hours, whenever they're available, whenever you can get into the properties, when they find something they love, you're writing a contract that night, and it's, boom, 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 go, go, go. So they're very different. I like both, and I don't think I would want to specialize in one or the other.
Why do some specialize? Just because of the schedule, the benefits of a schedule that come with it?
Maybe, and just streamlining the process, especially once you get...
to a certain level?
Right. That's what I would think.
Very cool. William Brown, thank you for joining us here on the program. You are intelligent, social media sophisticated, you're, without question, beautiful. You have a lot of stuff absolutely going for you here. How about the advent and the ubiquitous nature of what we each have in front of us? I mean, I don't know about you, but I am like checking Facebook 17 times. It's like a drug addiction for me. And like, I don't even realize, Sarah, that I'm doing it. I might be at the red light and I'm just doing it. How has this thing impacted the profession, and how does someone like you respond to it?
Great question. So absolutely, like you, I sometimes, if I wake up in the middle of the night, find myself checking Facebook or my email. Don't tell. Sorry, Mike, I'm not really doing that. But definitely, I mean, that's where people are all the time, and as you know, people want an instant answer. So I think in our business, it's, if somebody's emailing me or calling me in off hours, yes, I want the business, but you also have to set standards for yourself that if after 8 p.m. it's family time, you have to stick to that. And it's hard. So hard.
I struggle with this.
I struggle with it too.
Yeah. My wife calls, and she's watching right now, my wife calls this the other woman. She goes, you spend more time with this than you do me on a lot of days. And it's difficult because this, just like you, is how we make our living in our career, and we're doing it for the best of the family.
Right.
So, I mean, can you help me?
So I actually have this conversation. As I said, my daughter Ava is 10, coming up on those preteen years. Her number one wish last Christmas was an iPhone.
Stop.
An iPhone. I'm like, you're crazy.
Right.
No, never.
Yeah. What happened to the bicycle?
Right. She has one of those. So but absolutely. And I find myself all the time, because I am on my phone a lot. It's your calendar, it's your contacts, it's your, your email, your Facebook, your marketing, everything. And, so I do think it's important to set limits on it. And especially, when we're sitting down to dinner or when we're doing a family movie or something, I struggle with it, but I do try to put it away because I do find my kids watch it like, oh, you're on your phone again. You're on your phone again. What are you doing? And I do try to explain to them, well, this is how mommy makes money. This is my job. And,
they understand?
I think they do. So, I mean, I've been trying to explain it more. Like right now, I'm checking my calendar and seeing what appointments I have tomorrow. No. Or I'm corresponding with a client and...
You're not playing Fortnite.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
You're doing legit stuff. See, sweetheart, listen to her, please. We struggle with this on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Is it good for the business? I mean, I feel like more knowledge that's out there, and I feel like these offer more knowledge, is good. What are your thoughts? And then I'll get into specifics.
Sure. I mean, I think in general, it's good for people to have more knowledge, for things to be more seamless and transparent. I've heard tales of back in the day when agents had these books of listings, and you had to have an agent even know what was on the market. Right. You had to look in this book. And that obviously had its challenges too. Now everybody, Zillow. There's Estimate. And that's where they're finding properties. And you know what? I think that's okay. I think that it's good. But I think that people have to understand that real estate agents still bring value to the transactions because this is what we do every day.
Good answer right there. I think you guys bring tremendous value. I think the value you bring outside the negotiation piece is you understand marketplace dynamics. You understand which neighborhoods have long-term value, which neighborhoods could be a flash in the pan. The value piece that you guys bring put that in perspective for us. Like, what is some of the value when someone partners with you, and you're going to have a lot of feedback from this. Jason Whitehead, thank you for joining us. When people are watching and they're saying, what is the value Sarah Hill Buczynski is going to provide? Put that in perspective.
Sure. Well, I think the value I personally provide is that I'm going to listen to my clients. Every client is different in what their goals and objectives are. And really tailor a plan, whether you're buying or selling, to what those goals are. And then I'm going to be committed to seeing it through to the end and having your plan succeed.
Good answer. Sizzle reel, Judah. Let's turn that into a highlight reel. Paul Rittenhouse, one-time soccer coach at Western Albemarle High School. Paul, are you still the soccer coach? Let us know on the stream. I love some Paul Rittenhouse on this program. Guys, share the show. Like the show. Let's give Sarah Hill some props right here. Sarah Hill Buczynski some props here. You're 30 minutes in.
Ooh.
Feels like 5 minutes.
Right.
You're crushing it. How about the vertically integrated nature of your husband and wife partnership? Your husband is a premium big-time lender in town. First Heritage Mortgage. First Heritage Mortgage under Mike Beatrick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
First Heritage Mortgage, a trusted lender. You can help someone find their dream home, and then you can say, guess what? I have a guy that has just as much skin in the game in this deal as I do, my husband, that can help make that financing happen if you need it. We'll start open-ended with that question. How has that dynamic worked? Because I work with my wife. 85% of the time, it's unbelievable. 15% of the time, it's like, ay, mi madre, what are we doing here? Do you experience that as well?
Up until this point in the first 3 years of my business, obviously I refer to him, and it's been all good.
Awesome.
It really
good for
has.
You.
I mean, I think we're both, we both expect a lot of each other. And so I think it's just a plus for our clients because we're pushing each other to do the best. And I think the clients that we've had in common have been just super happy with how seamless the process has been and just how much of a team we've been.
The lending piece. When I did my first transaction, I was like, man, this is so complicated. This is so like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about PMI. We're talking about 20% down, principal mortgage insurance, this, and that. And I'm like, do you see the buyers you work with more? Thank you, David Cathcart, for joining us on the show. Are they more educated, or are you still having to say, look, this is the path we're going down, and here's why? Put that in perspective for us.
I think it depends. I think there are some more educated buyers out there now, just with the information that you can find. But especially first-time home buyers. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you read about something; it's different when you're going through it. And I think that's what's really important about having a lender that you trust and that can talk to you and break it down in just everyday language and tell you what's going on.
You're good, man. You respond to questions very well, and you think quickly on your feet. Pre-qual letters on the way to Florida, your husband's saying right now. Mike, I love what you're doing right now with the stream here. Let me throw this to you, Sarah. Let's talk about Central Virginia in totality. Why is this market so strong? And even in 2008, when we were in a national recession, we didn't see the decrease in home values as they were nationwide. We are somewhat insulated. Perhaps it's the University of Virginia. Perhaps it's the big-time employers like S&P and LexisNexis and State Farm that are keeping a lot of money in the community. Why is Central Virginia? Open-ended question. We see you, Valerie Easter. Thank you for joining us on the show. Sasso Morabito, maybe a friend of yours. Thank you for joining us on the program. Why is Central Virginia and Charlottesville more insulated and protected from national trends?
That's a great question.
UVA, UVA is a big one.
I think that is probably the biggest thing. But the other thing is we're central. We're literally 2 hours away from anything.
Good answer right there, because you're saying 2 hours from D.C., we can go skiing, we can go to the beach. Cho has airport runs that we can go anywhere. How about this question, more specifically? Why do you see this area, Central Virginia in totality, being a good 30-year long-term investment? Because 30-year mortgages. A 30-year mortgage, some of these deals that buyers are going to outlast, and I hate to say this, their marriage. It's a 30-year deal, right? 30 years is a long freaking time.
It is.
Why do you tell the folks that are watching that a 30-year deal and a home in Charlottesville and Central Virginia is something that's going to do well long term?
Because people are still going to want to be here in 30
right.
years. There's the quality of life here is amazing. There is the university. There are, the major employers that are here. But I think mostly it's the quality of life, and people choose to come here. Yes, people get transferred for their jobs, or they come here for school. But even if they leave, they come back. As you know.
I never left.
Okay. I thought you left and came back.
I stayed here for a girl, and she was the wrong girl, and then I fell in love with Charlottesville.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlottesville's like my first love.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so true. And I have had so many conversations with people who have either come through here, military or school, med school, and then they work to get back here. They literally, I want to go back there someday, and they do. They come back here. Because it's just such an awesome place to live.
It's so awesome. So many options. I mean, what are some of your favorite parts? Are you the food gal? Are you the outdoors gal? The ACC sports gal? I mean, the music gal? I mean, so many options here. What do you love?
I love me some UVA men's basketball.
Oh, yeah? Tony Bennett?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why are you blushing when I say Tony Bennett, Sarah? Why are you blushing?
Great win last night,
guys.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It was amazing. They
Crushed
were on
the
fire.
Hokies. Yeah.
And
the Hokies were a top 10 team.
Yeah.
We made them look like a JV team.
Yeah. It was, everyone was just on point.
So men's basketball, your love.
Men's basketball, yes. My dad has been a season ticket holder for as long as I can remember, so I get to go to some games with him. I love a little bit of everything. Wineries, breweries, trails. There's just so many different things to do here that there's something for everyone.
I agree. We'll get you to scoot a little tighter to that mic. You are crushing it. We got Andre Xavier asking for your opinion on the Cascadia neighborhood. Your thoughts on Cascadia?
Oh, wow.
Specifics coming in. I love that. Andre Xavier, thank you. Your thoughts?
Cascadia is great. I think they're almost fully sold out at this point. And that went really quickly.
Quick.
The location is obviously just amazing. The great builders in there. If you can get into Cascadia, do it.
There you go. Valerie says, I love some Sarah and I love some Mike. And can I call it mentor at one time?
Oh, yes.
Valerie, thank you very much for contributing to the program. Share the feed, like the feed. Let's give Sarah Hill some love right here. We're getting the likes coming in right here. You live on the western side, toward Crozet?
We are in Crozet.
Okay, you're in Crozet. How about the boom of Crozet? It's like its own city now. My wife and I are so into foodies. Our hobby is food. Okay. That's what we like to do. And we are driving to Crozet to eat at restaurants, like Smoked, like The Rooftop. Can you talk and put in perspective a little bit the evolution of what's happening in Crozet? Crozet is its own destination.
Absolutely. And when we were looking to move down here almost 10 years ago now, we were just kind of looking in the general area. We were kind of all over the place. Spring Creek, Lake Monticello, didn't know exactly where we wanted to be. And I will never forget, we were sitting in my parents' condo at Walker Square, where I think
West Main.
Yes.
Right in the heart of the city.
Right there. So they had a condo there. And when we moved down here, there were 7 of us living in a 2-bedroom West Main condo for a brief period.
While we were out of town. How the hell did you do that?
I know. It was my sister and her boyfriend. It was me and Mike, our 9-month-old daughter, and my parents.
Oh my gosh! And you guys still all talk to each other.
We do.
Oh,
yeah. So brief. It was like for a summer. Thank
sure,
goodness.
but still,
we wouldn't have made it past that. But I will never forget. We're sitting there looking at realtor.com or something, and Mike goes, "What is this? Crozet?
Right.
Crozet?
That's the first thing I called it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I have no idea. And my dad's like, you know what? That is a really nice little town. You should definitely look out there. And oh my gosh, thank God we did, because it is probably the best move that we could have ever made. We love it.
Yeah. What do you love about it?
We just love the small town feel.
Intimacy?
Yes, absolutely. But we love that it's still close. There's still, obviously 10 years ago, there wasn't Piedmont Place. There wasn't all the restaurants and shopping. So it's definitely grown. There's definitely a ton more growth going on, which I know is concerning to some people.
I got to ask you about that.
And the roads. I mean, traffic.
Is there 2 ways to get in and out?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
so if one has an accident, We have a little backup here.
Yes, yes. So definitely, I mean, we travel up and down 64, 250 all the time, back and forth from Crozet. If there's an accident on one, you're getting on the other and you're stuck. So it's definitely a concern. But I mean, I think it's great because it's bringing more opportunities and people just love Crozet.
What I love about it is it reminds me of Charlottesville before Charlottesville got called the happiest city in America. You know everybody, and I'm not knocking Charlottesville. You know what I mean by that. You know everybody. Corbin Snow of Snow's Garden Center, thank you for joining us on the program. You know everybody. You know, everyone is like a couple degrees apart from each other, which is good and bad. Right. And I just go there and I'm like, this feels like, I don't want to say like the cliche Mayberry, but it feels like home. And now that you have like King Family, you have Star Hill, you have the access to 151, you have Piedmont. Piedmont Place is something. Piedmont Place is like almost like a mini downtown. I feel like Crozet long term, and I'm going to throw this to you. Crozet long term is like killer investment. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. I think, you know, Crozet has been hot for a while, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. I think it's only going to get hotter, and people want to be there for exactly the reasons that you said.
Well, and the schools. As a mom, I mean, you have a school system that is almost like a private school system at the public school level. Thoughts on that and how that's impacting the market in Crozet?
Oh, people move there. I mean, that is absolutely a number one selling point is the school system out there. It's one of the reasons that we moved out there. Interestingly enough, my kids now go to school in town at Covenant. But the school system is great out there, and you know all of our neighbors go there, and it's definitely a selling point.
Love that answer, guys. Okay, let me throw this to you. Neighborhoods that generally hold their value the best in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. We got folks that are watching the program. Either they're entrepreneurs, they're investors, folks that are first-time home buyers, folks that potentially like me that lives in Redfields that is slowly outgrowing his home and wants to climb to maybe a couple thousand more square feet because we want to expand our family. Homes generally, open-ended question, neighborhoods generally that hold their value better than others. Your thoughts?
Well, like we just talked about, I think anything Crozet is a pretty sure bet. At this point, I mean, as you've seen, all of the growth out Fifth Street, Old Lynchburg.
It's crazy.
Anything out that way, I think, is definitely up and coming hot. Wegmans has opened up a whole new world out there.
Right. You know, I love Wegmans because of what they're doing to our property values. Corbin Snow has a question for you. Corbin, thank you for participating. Corbin says, I'm looking to expand and grow my brand in the Crozet market. Is there any commercial or agricultural land available for a garden center?
That is a little bit outside of my area. I do mostly residential, but if I hear of anything, I will let him know.
There you go. She will let you know. Andre Xavier says we're building a house in Crozet.
Awesome.
Thank you, Andre Xavier, for sharing that. Guys, like the show, share the stream. Let's get the spotlight on Sarah. How about in town? It seems to me, and you're the expert, you know more about this than I do. I love to follow it. Real estate's my passion. Advertising, branding, real estate, spending time with my family. I'm on the MLS, like, addictively like 10 times a day. And my wife is like, dude, nothing has changed from 90 minutes ago. What are you doing? I know, sweetheart, I know. So where I'm going with this is I see empty nesters leaving the county and their bigger homes, downsizing and moving into the city. They want the amenities of the downtown mall. Right. They want the amenities of perhaps being able to walk to ACAC downtown, enjoying what the heartbeat of the city is, which is downtown. How do you see this impacting the market? Because from a layman's perspective, you're the expert, from a layman's perspective, this is skyrocketing property values in the city of Charlottesville. What are your thoughts on this, Sarah?
Absolutely, because those empty nesters definitely have more capital, more money, and they're coming in and they don't mind maybe a little bit of a fixer-upper or putting some money into an older home. And so that's definitely going to, I think, probably push some people out into more of the surrounding...
The urban ring and deeper in the county.
Yes.
Do you think that's good for the market?
I think it's okay. I mean, it's great for the surrounding counties. Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because, and this is a tough topic because the city of Charlottesville only has so much land mass. There's only so much inventory in the city of Charlottesville. And that inventory is going at a price point that a lot of folks can't afford. That's fair to say. And the folks that can't afford the inventory that's in the city of Charlottesville are going to Albemarle County. If they cannot afford the inventory that's in Albemarle County, they're going to Fluvanna, Louisa, and Orange. from my standpoint, and I'm the conscious capitalist, the social entrepreneur, I see as this being great for the region, rising land values and home values in the city of Charlottesville having a matriculation effect to entire Central Virginia. Open-ended question. Talk to me about what you're seeing from a rising home value in Charlottesville and how it's impacting, say, Louisa, how it's impacting, say, Orange. I mean, Spring Creek is ridiculous. And is that Louisa? That's Zion's Crossroads and Louisa. Talk to me about this.
I mean, so I definitely think that, people are having to go farther. One of the sayings, drive till you qualify. People are going farther. And I think that's great for those outer areas because it's going to build them up more. There's going to be hopefully more economic development in those areas. I think it's a positive.
Good answer right there. How do you potentially build wealth in real estate in Charlottesville and Central Virginia? You see it from first-time home buyers, home buyers that are a few times in, sellers that are doing the same. How do you build wealth in real estate in this market?
I think the first thing is just to own the real estate. To get in there, get in the game. Absolutely. And there are some great products, loan products, especially for first-time home buyers that make it easier than ever to get into.
What do you mean by that? Educate me.
Okay, so products where you can have your down payment covered or have grants, different programs like that, 0% down. My husband would be much more knowledgeable on this than even I would. But there are definitely some great programs, and anytime that you can, pay yourself and not someone else, that's good for you.
That is good. Now let me throw this to you. The average Joe has been, I was drilled. I'm a son of a CPA. My parents were entrepreneurs. I remember sitting at the dinner table and hearing so many different mentor-type statements from my dad. Do this, do this, do this. And he would beat them into us over and over and over again. One of them was 20% down, 20% down, 20% down, son, when you do your home. It's a different market now. It's a different lending market now. Can you give us some perspective of some of the deals you've done? They're not all 20% down anymore. It's really more of like a freer, opener market than what it was in the past. Your thoughts?
I would say, in the last couple years, I have not done many deals that are 20% down. I've worked with a lot of first-time home buyers, and there's a lot of products that you can do 10% down, you can do 5% down, and so it allows a lot more people to get into the real estate game, which is going to let them build that wealth.
Very good, very good. Let me throw this to you. There is a glut of new construction on the market. And I have no beef with new construction. My only concern with someone who owns a home in Redfields, let's say a 1995-year-old home, is how does a home that's 1995, that has half acre, end of a cul-de-sac, great home, how does it compete with a 2019 home that has the shine, the bells and whistles, the white kitchen?
Right.
My wife is so enamored with modern gray and white kitchens and certain granite count. The look.
The farm,
the shabby chic farm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Joanna Gaines.
Yeah. How do you compete with that?
And that is definitely a reality in this market. Any resale is competing with new construction, and you have to take that into account. People love new, shiny, and so really for the the people that are in the older homes like you, like me, I think it's really maintaining those homes well and doing upgrades as you can, so that you're not 15 years down the road you haven't done anything to the home and now you're trying to sell and you're up against a new construction. Mike and I try to do little things where we can. We painted our cabinets white, ourselves, some chalk paint, so some DIY stuff, that you can do well, and then just maintaining the home.
The maintaining of home, obviously so important. Do you recommend, and you've kind of touched on this, you recommend doing a little projects each year? I mean, how have you gone about doing it from yourself and your husband's standpoint? Because you guys are in the game. Your husband's a lender, you're an agent. Put a roadmap to success for someone like me who has a home in the mid-90s in Redfields. We take good care of it. We're not doing projects every year like you. Maybe I need to start listening what you're saying. Can you give me some insight into that?
I think, I forget where I read this, but it was something like you should put a certain amount back into your house, and not just in maintenance, but in upgrades every year to just stay current with the market. And so we've really tried to do that where we can. Of course, some years it's not possible.
Disposable income.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you have a son that's born, and then you have
Exactly.
the birthing bills.
Exactly.
And then you
They just keep coming. Oh,
Right.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
and stuff happens.
Yeah.
So, I think anytime we try to budget for a little bit each year just to kind of, stay in the game. And I think the other thing that I also try to tell people is, it's sad when you get ready to sell and then you put in the new carpet and then you put in the new counters and then you do all this stuff and then you're like, oh my gosh, I love this home.
Right.
But we're selling it.
Right.
So I think, you want to enjoy it while you're there. So make the improvements, not just to sell, but for you.
That was a really good answer. Sizzle reel that one, Judah, because you're basically saying if you do this all in the 60 days right before closing, you're going to be like, this is awesome. It's my dream home. It's exactly what I wanted, but I never had a chance to enjoy it.
Right. And it doesn't feel good to do all those things just to sell.
And on top of that, it's going to further add to the process of stress.
Right.
Is it more stressful selling or buying?
Gosh, they're both stressful.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know. I think probably buying is more stressful just because you really have no control. As much as, you're kind of
at the mercy of the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, but play devil's advocate.
You are the seller too.
Yeah.
But at least you're in your house.
Right. At least you're in a home that you purchased because you liked it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You're not looking for the home that you want and you like, and you're not in it. The thing that I'm trepid about, and we have aspirations of soon doing it, is welcoming so many people into the home, into our personal space, the walk around, the open house. I know they have to be done. What's the conversation you have with the folks where you're like, look, we got to have open houses to sell it. I'm sure you get some resistance from folks. No, we're only going to do the open house on this time. This is the only one I'm going to do, and I'm not going to do any more than that. What do you say to those people? Because I would be one of those guys. I'm going to tell you right now.
Oh, no, Jerry. Don't
I'm going to be like, you got one open house on this day. Go sell this home here.
Right. Well, I mean, I would say that if your house is in good shape and it's priced right, you shouldn't need, open houses every weekend. So that's the number one thing. But I also tell my sellers that, if you're serious about selling your home, at the time that you decide to put it on the market, it's really no longer your home. It is a product for sale. And so you have to sort of help them distance themselves from their home in that way. And
that's the question I'm going to lead into. How can sellers, sell their homes and position them better so they look more appealing to a robust marketplace? I mean, what are the steps they do to make the home look better and more appealing?
Sure. I don't think you can ever underestimate a fresh coat of paint. Really goes a long way.
And it's cheap.
Exactly.
And we can do it ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time consuming and it's a pain.
Yeah.
But, if you put in some of that work, some of those hours beforehand, and it's going to pay off in the end.
How about the declutter piece?
Oh my gosh, so important.
How hard is that when you go to someone and say, guys, your home's a little messy. Can you declutter a little bit?
I try to make it's not personal. It's not that I don't, that your stuff is bad or that, we all live in our houses the way that we're comfortable. And, probably we need to get rid of 30% of our stuff.
I totally agree with that. And I have 3 German Shepherds. I have no idea what the hell we're going to be doing here. All right, let's talk personal here. And we're going to close the show, and I want you to look at the camera. And before we get to that, this is the question I'm going to ask you. Why is Sarah Hill Buczynski a talented real estate agent, someone that can be trusted to buy and sell her home? Before we get to that question, let's talk about personal hobbies, restaurants you like to go to. Let's give some props to the other business owners out there that we support. What businesses and brands locally are you supporting and why?
So we're out in Crozet. We mainly kind of stick to that side of town. I love Far Downers. That is one of our absolute go-tos. They don't get a lot of press, I don't think, but they are absolutely like the neighborhood place for us to go.
You feel comfortable with your kids there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh. Ava, for her 9th birthday, she said, I want to go to Far Downers for their wings. So
awesome.
We took our 9-year-old to Far Downers.
So the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree there.
Right.
Because is that what you like too?
Exactly. All she needed was a beer,
What else do you like, Sarah?
King Family is one of our absolutely most favorite places. Again, family friendly. Anytime from April to about October when they have their wine Wednesdays and you can be outside. You'll find us there on a blanket. The Polo, obviously, is super fun. Blue Mountain, love them. Smoked is good. Sal's Pizza.
Love salad. Man, she is a western side of the county gal. All those brands, very solid. Your husband says you're an organization ninja. Organization ninja. Is he an organization ninja as well?
He's getting there.
Okay. Mike Buczynski, I love it. I think my wife would say the same thing about me, Sarah. All right, we're going to close. You have filled almost an hour right now, and you are absolutely, absolutely crushing it here. Before we get to the question why you would make a trusted agent, and we're going to turn that without question into a sizzle reel, let's talk about the Roy Wheeler piece. I went into the Roy Wheeler office, and the office makes a statement. It's a mansion. I mean, I can't also think of many real estate firms in the area that actually own their offices as well. In fact, the only ones I can think of are what Loring is doing on Park Street and what Ness is doing over here, Jonathan, in the Gleason. Outside of that, not many folks own the building. The family, the Roy Wheeler family. The leadership from MG, from Michael Guthrie.
Yeah.
He's orchestrating Christmas carol singing on social media, wearing a Santa hat, and singing solos himself. I mean, I was blown away.
He's a very talented songwriter.
Is he? Are you joking? That's talking.
No, I mean, really, they're catchy.
Yeah, I mean, because he was turning the Christmas carols into real estate jingles.
Yes.
Like into real estate songs.
He also has a good silent night when everyone leaves.
Yeah.
After Christmas and your house is silent again. That's a good one too.
The family at Roy Wheeler, the vibe, the energy. Put that in perspective for us.
It's amazing, and I'm so grateful to be part of the Roy Wheeler family. It is just a special place because everyone's there to help and support one another. And I don't know, I haven't worked a whole lot of places, but I'm not sure that you get that everywhere. I think some places I get the feeling that it's more just everybody's in it for themselves, and you're kind of doing your own thing. But we have, regular team meetings where, if somebody has a question or they're having a difficulty in a deal, they can say, hey, guys, what do you think about this? Let's help me brainstorm. And everybody gives of their time and their expertise very freely.
It seems like it's less like dog eat dog, sharks swimming in the water, and more like, you have a question? Come here. I'll give you some perspective. A lot of others are not like that.
Exactly, and I think that is the difference. Everybody is trying to help everyone else succeed.
Good answer. All right, we close the show. You filled an hour. You have filled an hour. You are on point. You are in fuego. Sarah Hill Buczynski, guys, of the Roy Wheeler Realty Co. Your moment to shine.
Okay.
That camera right there. 2019 is going to be an awesome year. The economy is strong. Money is cheap. Interest rates are still really reasonable. There's inventory on the market that I think has tremendous long-term value. I think we're going to have a killer 2019. Why should the marketplace, Charlottesville, Central Virginia, Orange County, Louisa County, any county in the area, trust Sarah Hill Buczynski for their real estate needs?
Whether you're a buyer or a seller, I'm going to listen to your specific goals and needs and really manage the process for you and help you get to where you want to be on time.
Sarah Hill, give me some props. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Sarah Hill Buczynski, guys, find her online. Where can we find you online?
I am at Sarah B. Realtor at Gmail. That's my email. And then you can also find me on Facebook and at roywheeler.com.
Okay. Are you on IG? Instagram?
I'm not. That's a goal for 2019.
2019 Q1. We're going to see her on Instagram. I will help you with that.
Okay, thanks.
Guys, you crushed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Alex Upri tomorrow. He is the president of Ford Adelante, the Latin newspaper in Charlottesville. What I'm trying to do with the forum is showcase the best of Charlottesville from every economic level, from every race, the best of Charlottesville, Virginia, and Ford Adelante, the Latin newspaper, is undoubtedly doing that with our Latin community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. He will join us tomorrow at 12:30. On Friday, Adam Healy, the interim executive director of the Charlottesville Albemarle Convention and Visitors Bureau. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this show, you need to tune into Friday's show at 12:30, because I will talk with the man that is leading the charge of changing the regional and national conversation in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. If you have a business in Charlottesville or in Central Virginia that you own, or you're committed to this community long-term as a homeowner, you better follow the regional and national conversation of Charlottesville, Virginia. And Adam Healy is not only going to show us artwork, strategy, and data for the 2019 campaign that's expected to change that conversation. That's Friday at 12:30. My name is Jerry Miller. This show is the I Love CVille Show. We close the program the same way. Charlottesville, please be good to each other. We'll see you tomorrow at 12:30.